Mitch McConnell and Republicans in the Senate are apparently beginning to panic about the chances of them taking over that chamber, and they're doing it publicly. They're openly talking about how their path to taking over the Senate has become much harder than they planned.
A storm is tearing up the digital media industry. Only our audience can save us in these difficult times. Help us reach our goal of 100,000 new members at tyt.com/team.
Apparently, at a Tuesday lunch, NRSC leadership told Senate Republicans they could lose winnable races due to a lack of funding as their candidates face a barrage of negative advertising. Quote, "We are on track to flip the Senate, but Senate Democrats' massive cash advantage is a real problem. The biggest thing preventing Senate Republicans from having a great night in November is the cash crunch we currently face." Now, what does that mean? Like in practice, we're at a deficit in terms of fundraising. No, they're really at a deficit. Democrats running for the Senate and groups supporting them are outspending Republicans by a total of more than $200 million. That is a lot of money. That's both past spending and future reservations across Montana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, Maryland, and Nevada, 6 of the 8 key Senate races. The GOP has the spending edge only in Pennsylvania and Ohio, where they're outspending Democrats by $41 million. Now, I would love to see the Democrats come to parity in those areas. We saw recently Kamala Harris released like $25 million, I think, of her money to some of these races.
Yeah.
And that's great. Now, really fast, let's look at some of the actual polling. Maybe a consequence of the spending may explain why they're getting so much more money. So in Ohio, the Democrat currently up by almost 4 points. In Pennsylvania, the Democrat up by 3 points. That's all good. If those seats go to the Republicans, then goodbye Senate, obviously at that point. In Montana, they are still up over Jon Tester by 5 points. That's the toughest one of the cycle that is still in contention. And across many of the others, up by similar 4 or 5 point margins, including over Kari Lake, Ruben Gallego up 4.5 points. And that is good news too. And so, look, I don't think it's just the money that has put them in this position. I think that Donald Trump is an unpopular candidate and he drags the Republicans down. He always has. But Francesca, what do you make of the campaign?
I mean, they have the memories of Nats. Like they saw 2022, like we all saw 2022. And it's what in part, I think, inspired people like Nikki Haley to jump into the race. Cause they were like, yeah, the brand's not good. They saw the MAGA people get ousted, whether it was in the primary or in the general. They got Vance, like that's who they got. And they had to get Peter Thiel money, which is not limitless. Like Peter Thiel tries. But it's not limitless. I mean, if only there was some government out there who gave large checks away to right wingers. Oh, help us, dear Putin. This is so predictable, but you're like, I don't want to do their politics better than they're doing it. But like, look at how much you're alienating people. Again, you're just getting the crazies, the backwash. Like you could pivot, you could make this a more inclusive party. You could actually try to get the Latino vote. A lot of Latinos are conservative, they're Catholics. You could try, you could tout your claims of overturning Roe v. Wade to them. Yeah. No. We'd much rather demonize them to get this white voter base whose wives are now souring on Donald Trump because, they'd like to live in some sort of obstetric emergency. So that is, God, John, I hope, there's so much work to do. There's so much canvassing to be done. There's so many doors to be knocked. There's a lot of places to donate. I encourage people to not take a back seat come this election. We've got 50 days. But yes, these are really good signs. And you're just like, we could have told you that after the red wave didn't materialize.
Yeah, and look, the fact that they have so much money is great. It's enthusiasm for the Democratic side. I think Kamala Harris replacing Joe Biden is responsible for at least a good portion of that, which is great. And so you have the money side. You have Donald Trump weighing down the Republicans, both indirectly by his presence, but also as in the 2022 race, like he has inspired worse candidates to run. He has directly endorsed worse candidates in primaries. They could have had control of the Senate already, likely, if they hadn't let Donald Trump choose their candidates in 2022. And now you have these ghouls and goblins trying to run, and they're not Trump. They can't skate by. And so you get a lot of that too. Thanks for watching our video. Did you know that you can support our show by becoming a subscriber? Just click the subscribe button and also ring the bell so that you get notifications when we're live or when we post new content.